Hi, I'm Taylor, and I'm going to talk about my personal theory of change. So, why do I want to become a counselor, and how have I helped somebody? Like many of us have already shared in class, we would like to be counselors, of course, to help people, but it is deeper than that. So, I struggle with my own mental health greatly. I would say like middle school through high school, and there was a great stigma around getting help that I felt both from my family but also just my community. And I feel like that's pretty common in the United States in general, and that's something that I would like to see less of. And I want to be that person for somebody else so that they don't have to feel ashamed about it, because it is such a common issue that we all, I feel like, struggle with at some point in our lives. And how have I helped somebody? So, my younger sister dealt with some pretty intense anxiety from a very young age, and as I mentioned before, our family does not do well with that kind of thing. So I kind of took on that role for her as like to be her rock. And I got a lot of fulfillment out of that over the years. I also currently work as a psychosocial rehabilitation specialist, and I'm kind of dipping my feet into counseling people, but I'm just really excited to fully flourish in that and receive actual training and all of that stuff. So I'm very excited to flourish in this field. How would counseling help someone? So I think that there are many ways that counseling can help people. Of course, I'm pursuing it myself, but I think that the overarching theme of it is that nothing can replace someone sitting face to face with you and feeling like they really care about your presenting problem, like feeling like whatever you're bringing to the table not only is valid, but is like worthy of being talked about, and it's not something to be ashamed about. Just feeling like somebody cares about you, I think, is how it's the most helpful. Counseling is the most helpful. Why would someone seek counseling, and why might they hurt? Again, I think it's human nature in us to need that connection, but I also think that even the most independent of people will need help, at some point in their life. I think that hurt can, of course, be trauma. It can be loneliness, just unfortunate events in general. But I also think that hurt can just kind of show up one day, especially if you're somebody, like my sister, who does just kind of have some chemical funk going on in there, and one day it shows up and you don't know how to manage it. I think that can bring on a lot of hurt. So hurt can look different for everybody. I think sometimes hurt can also just be, a lack of purpose or a lack of goals, so things feel pointless. I think hurt can come from a lot of different places. How do you measure change, and how does one go from hurt to not hurt? So change might look different in every person, but I think that it can be measured similarly amongst different people. I would say generally you could try to measure change through one's drive to partake in the things that they once really enjoyed. So maybe somebody is, pushing themselves to just get through their day, but they're not really enjoying it. It's not genuine, they're putting on a mask. You could measure that person's change through, okay, well, are you still doing the things, but are you genuinely wanting to do these things, or are you just trying to move along with society? And for some people that are at a different space, like if you're severely depressed and you can't get out of bed or make a meal, then you would start with those baby steps of, okay, well, today I got up and today I made a meal, or this week I'm going to, take care of myself. I think those would be good ways to go from hurt to not hurt and actually examine them. What does it mean to be mentally well or healthy? So as I just mentioned before, I think that to be able to function in society as you deem successful would be mentally well or healthy. So that can be subjective for each person. I think it would really just depend on your goals, if you have goals, and are you happy to be working towards them? Do you feel as if you have a purpose and that life is worth putting, yourself into? Do you find joy in partaking in daily activities? Oh, and also to have connections with people. I really strongly believe that humans do need some sort of connection. And I think that having healthy relationships is like a very good sign of being mentally well and healthy. Thank you.